On today's show, I bring you an episode inspired by an interview I did on my friend Erica's podcast, Conversations for Curious Travelers, that will teach you how you can make your next trip feel like a movie. So, pull out your map, cue up your theme music, and let your inner director grab the spotlight, because it's time to start planning a Movified travel adventure that looks and feels like a blockbuster. Let's Movify your life. Welcome to the Movify Your Life show, the plot twist you've been waiting for. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and through the Movify Your Life method, I'll show you how to step into the starring role of your story and create a life worth watching. Every Movify Monday, you'll learn how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable memories, activate your main character energy, and use cinematic tools to boldly chase your biggest dreams, like the movie star you truly are. Because when the credits roll, I want you to look back at your life like it's the greatest film ever made, full of meaning, magic, and most importantly, zero regrets. And because I truly believe everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. So, grab your popcorn, cue the music, and together, let's Movify your life. Hello and welcome to the Movify Your Life show. I am your host, Jessica Grace Coleman. I am Chief Movifier over at Movify Your Life. And today I've put together an episode that was inspired by a very special interview I did for my friend Erica over on the Conversations for Curious Travelers podcast. And if you'll know anything about this podcast, you'll know it used to be a travel podcast. It used to be called the Travel Transformation Podcast. And I'm all about travel. So Erica and I had a blast diving into how you can turn your next journey and your next chapter into something truly cinematic. Now, I've known Erica online for a while now. We're both part of the Travel Coach Network. I got certified as a travel coach a few years ago now, and I got the chance to interview her on the original version of this podcast, which I said was called the Travel Transformation Show. No, it wasn't. It was called the Travel Transformation Podcast. Near enough. Anyway, then when she started her podcast, she was very kind to invite me on, even though I'd sort of moved on a bit and wasn't totally focusing 100% on travel by that point. But as I say, a lot of similar subjects I talk about, similar themes sort of got taken from my travel transformation stuff to Movify Your Life. So it still worked. And we always have such a great time talking about all things travel and self-development. And I really enjoyed this conversation. So I thought I'd use it as a bit of inspo for my own podcast episode, exploring some similar themes to what we talked about on Conversations for Curious Travelers. But obviously it's not going to be exactly the same. So if you want to find that episode of her podcast, Conversations for Curious Travelers, you can find the link in the show notes. And I highly recommend you check it out. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so let's start with a bit about why I've always loved travel. We sort of started with that in the podcast episode. And if you're listening to this since it's turned into the Movify Your Life show, you might not know anything about me or why I love travel so much. So I was lucky that my parents were into travel too when I was younger. So we did a lot of family caravan holidays in Cornwall. We did sort of trips around the UK. We hopped over to France and Spain, sort of proper trundling around adventures. But the moment I got the travel bug was when I was 10 years old. So it was 96. And we went on a US road trip through states such as Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah. I think we just made it to California as well. And it was the first huge trip abroad that wasn't, a very close neighbor in Europe. And it was totally different to anything I knew in England. And the scenery, the vast landscapes, how huge everything was, especially when you're a kid. If you go from the UK to the United States, everything just seems absolutely massive. Like the cars, the scenery, like I say, the landscapes, the sky, the roads, everything is just huge. And I loved that trip, and it definitely planted a seed because later I applied for a university course that included a year abroad in the States. So I went to Sussex Uni in England, and my third year out of 4, I ended up in Colorado at CU Boulder. And honestly, it felt like I'd walked into an American college movie. I felt like I was in an American college movie all the time, going to all the games, all the sort of tailgating parties, the marching bands, the parades, the cheerleaders. It was like an American college movie. Amazing. I went over there not really knowing anyone. I met a couple of girls at the airport and we flew over together, but I'd not met them before. And the whole experience just gave me such a huge confidence boost. The kind you get when you throw yourself into something new, exciting, and kind of scary, and you actually survive it. So that sort of sowed the seed. Love the States. I go back whenever I can. Fast forward to me being self-employed in 2014 with my editing and proofreading business, which meant I could work from anywhere. But I kept talking about the idea of being a digital nomad and, taking my laptop and working from wherever, but I never actually did it. Then the pandemic hit and being stuck inside made me realize, especially as I'd had a back injury and I'd been pretty much housebound for a year off and on before the pandemic hit. So I'd been in training for the lockdowns, and it made me realize that, we don't always get to go traveling whenever we want. We never know what's around the corner. Life doesn't go on forever, and waiting for someday to go on that epic trip or whatever you want to do is pretty dangerous to do because you might never get there. So in 2021, I finally did what I've been banging on about since 2014 and probably before that as well. I left my rental place. I put all my stuff in storage. I packed a suitcase and I headed to Spain to stay in co-living houses with digital nomads from all over the world. And these houses, you sort of work together, you live together, you cook together, you eat together, you socialize together, go on trips together. You teach each other stuff as well. So there's like workshops and masterminds and all kinds of cool things about business and careers and personal development. And it's just really cool. And I'm naturally shy and introverted, which I've mentioned on this podcast before. So I use that trip as like a personal challenge to stop hiding, basically, and put myself out there, to stop being a background character and to become the main character, though I hadn't started Movify Your Life by then, so I wasn't using that language. But that's basically what I was doing. I pushed myself to go, first of all, to speak up, to join in, and to actually run a workshop as well, which means that I was able to face my massive fear of public speaking. And once I did that, I felt like I could do anything. So that whole era turned into my whole travel transformation work, especially that trip. I went to 2 places in Spain, and then I hopped over to Paris for a week on my own. Actually, I went to 3 places in Spain. Went to the Basque Country, then to Javert, and then to Valencia, and then to Paris. And it was over like 2 or 3 months. And that trip changed everything. So I started my whole travel transformation work. I joined the travel coach network. I can't get my words out today. It's been a long day of work already. So my brain's a bit frazzled. I joined the travel coach network where I met Erica. I got certified in that. I wrote a book about my experience in Spain and France. I started the podcast, the Travel Transformation Podcast, and all that stuff, because I was talking about things like magical movie moments while traveling, eventually morphed into Movify Your Life, because that was the part I really, really loved, talking about magical movie moments and making your trips feel like you're in a movie. And that naturally progressed into making your life feel like you're in a movie. So that's how my love of travel basically ended me up here. That's not good English, is it? Ended me up here. That's how my love of travel got to me to this point in my life, basically, where I'm running Movify Your Life. So I mentioned magical movie moments there, and I believe I talked to Erica about this as well. I asked her about magical movie moments when she was on my podcast as well. It used to be a thing I used to ask my guests. So basically, they're the times when life suddenly feels cinematic. Like you can imagine that whatever you're doing in that moment as a scene on the big screen. You can imagine the camera work, you can imagine the soundtrack, you can imagine people watching and either being like amazed or super happy or just, having a lovely time watching the epic movie of your life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a big, massive, expensive experience. It can just be a moment in time when you feel so present, so alive, so happy, or just so proud of yourself, like anything like that makes you feel like this could be a scene in a movie. And travel, I believe, makes these moments easier to have because you're already out of your daily routine. You're doing new things, you're meeting new people, especially if you're solo traveling and you're sort of kind of forced to meet new people. You're sort of noticing the world in a different way, looking at things from a different perspective, and hopefully you're doing, cool, exciting things as well. So that's what I used to talk about. But the truth is you can create these anywhere. So one of my favourite examples, which I think is what I talked about on Erica's podcast, happened in Bilbao in Spain. This was the second time I went to Spain, the year after I went back to the same co-living house in the Basque Country. And a group of us, people I'd met in the house just a couple of weeks earlier, we went to Bilbao for a weekend before we all sort of dispersed into different places, different directions. And we ended up walking past the Guggenheim Museum late at night, which is a really cool museum, really cool architecturally interesting building. It also has the Guggenheim puppy and the Guggenheim spider outside. Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's really cool. And it was late at night. All the buildings were lit up. We were walking along the river and we came across this lit up bridge that honestly looked like the backdrop of a 90s music video. We'd already been sort of listening to music as we were walking along and singing along and having a lovely time. And like without even discussing it, this group of mainly women, there was one guy, Stan, bless him, who kind of acted as our bodyguard because he was not down for what we were doing. We all just walked onto the bridge and started dancing. We had a midnight bridge dance party. And we were listening to things like the Spice Girls and stuff from our childhood and teen years. And we were having such a great time. And that alone would have been, a very spontaneous, cool thing to happen. Could feel like it's out of a movie anyway. But then people were walking past as we were doing this. And some of them gave us weird looks. Some of us completely avoided eye contact because they thought we were crazy. But some of them were like happy. They were smiling. They were laughing. They were clapping along. They were singing along as they walked past. Some of them high-fived us. Some of them stopped for a minute and did a bit of a dance. One woman stayed for an entire song. She got her partner to film us on her phone and she danced with us, complete strangers, on a bridge at midnight in Bilbao. I think she was Spanish, so, not even first language in common. And it felt like the final scene of a film where everyone's dancing in the city and you suddenly remember, oh yeah, I'm allowed to feel joy. I'm allowed to have fun. I'm allowed to do weird, crazy things like this. And the weird, crazy things like this are what make life worth living. This is epic. And that's the thing about magical movie moments. You can have them on your own, but I find a lot easier. You have more of them when you're with other people and they bond you to other people as well. They become instant, lifelong memories. And I know that all the people I was there with dancing on that bridge that night, my friends and the strangers who walked past, they'll probably remember that for years to come, maybe forever. And, I can still message those group of ladies now and be like, #bridge party. And they'll be like, yes, I'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And we'll all have a lovely time reminiscing. So that's the power of magical movie moments.
Okay, movie star, real talk. Are you tired of feeling like a background extra in your own life? Then it's time to step into the spotlight and activate your main character era. And I've got just the thing to help you do it. Grab my free Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, your behind-the-scenes pass to creating the bold, brave, action-taking version of you who goes after their dreams like the star of a blockbuster. Inside, you'll discover how to design your alter ego, choose your transformational item, pick your theme song, and build the rituals and confidence cues you need to start living your life like the epic movie it was meant to be. So, if you're ready to rewrite your script, roll camera, and finally take the lead, head to movifyyourlife.com/free to download your free starter kit now. That's movifyyourlife.com/free. Your next scene starts today. And now, let's get back to the action.
So let's talk about using movies and TV, our favourite shows, to inspire our travels, our trips. It doesn't have to be a huge holiday. It can be a weekend away, a day trip, whatever you want. So we're talking about movie-inspired travel, really. And other than, the magical movie moments, which you can manufacture, I've talked about that before, but they're often just spontaneous moments. You can actually plan trips with movie-inspired travel in mind. So the first thing is something I've talked about a lot on this podcast is set jetting rather than jet setting. So set jetting is where you visit the filming locations of your favourite films and TV shows, and maybe where your favourite books were set or inspired by as well. So I've done this with so many places. One of the ones that was in my Movify Your Life Movimentary, which you can watch for free on YouTube, link in the show notes, was when I went to Richmond in London because I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan. And Richmond itself is a lovely place anyway. But if you're a Ted Lasso fan, it's great. You can go to the pub from the show. You can see filming locations. They do like a walking tour showing you all the locations. There's official Ted Lasso merch shop, which opened just before I went there. So I went in there. The local shops do their own merch as well sometimes. You can sit on the bench next to the red phone boxes. if it's nice weather, you can get a pint from the pub and stand outside, and there's the green. And it was just lovely when I went. Lovely sunny weekend, being immersed in Ted Lasso. And it helps that Ted Lasso is a hugely uplifting TV show that I can watch over and over again, and it never fails to make me smile and make me happy and feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So that's the best kind of set jetting, is when you can immerse yourself in an area that reminds you of that show or makes you think you're in the show. So that's one way you can use movies and TV shows to inspire your trips. And the second one, actually there are three, because I did do an episode about this recently, actually. Let me just check which one it was. Episode 184 was Travel Like You're in a Movie, Destinations that Feel Cinematic AF. So you can go down that route, just go places that feel cinematic. These can be like national parks in America. Think the Grand Canyon or Yosemite. They can be a little cafe in Paris with a cobblestone street, and you sit outside and you feel like you're in a rom-com. All those kinds of things. So you can go back and listen to that 184. I also did an episode on set jetting. So that is episode 165. Set jetting, what is this travel trend and how can you use it to movify your life? So those are two ways straight away you can go on a movified trip. But the next one is where you're not just chasing filming locations, you're chasing like the feeling of a show or a film you love. So this kind of goes with what I was talking about in episode 184. So if something just feels like you're in a movie, it doesn't have to necessarily be linked to a specific show or a location. So talking about my Movimentary, this is what I did when I chose Gilmore Girls and fall Hallmark films. So like cheesy Hallmark films, but set in autumn, because I wanted to go to New England in the fall. And that was inspired. I did a trip like this 7 or 8 years ago, and that was inspired by Gilmore Girls, even though Gilmore Girls was filmed in California on a set. But, pushing that aside, it was based on like all these really cute small towns in New England. It was meant to be in Connecticut, but my favorite state from that trip, we did a road trip, me and my friends, around like a Halloween, autumn festival, harvest road trip. It was amazing. My favorite state when I did that was Vermont. So I decided to go back there and sort of chase the Gilmore Girls Hallmark vibes. So I basically chose my favorite TV show / film genre, and then I used that to choose a destination. Now, New England was like my huge, epic, expensive dream destination, but I also considered going to the Cotswolds in England, which is a couple of hours from me, because I think it has the same vibes, but I knew I wouldn't quite get the Gilmore Girls feeling there. And I wanted to film it for my Movimentary, so I thought I'm going to go to New England and do it in Vermont. And I had the best time. You can also choose someone to channel when you're there. I talk about this when I talk about my movie star alter ego. So I chose Lorelai Gilmore because she is fun, funny, witty, independent, stylish. She knows what she wants and she goes after it. She has a lot of coffee and talks really fast. And I just wanted to be more outgoing like her. So I chose her as my alter ego. I named my alter ego Veronica Gilmore and filmed a mini movie called Veronica in Vermont. Now, you don't have to film a mini movie and make it into an actual video, but you could, and it's really fun. But just using this as inspiration to plan your trip can be really, really cool. And if you've watched my Movimentary, you'll know that I went on this trip, but I didn't just roam around doing whatever. I actually gave myself a challenge, a bingo sheet challenge. And I came up with, if it was 20 or 25, I can't remember, sort of themes, tropes, activities based on Gilmore Girls and Hallmark movies that I would have to do. And I was there solo, so it was sort of getting myself out of my comfort zone and making sure I got out of the Airbnb and actually did stuff instead of just hiding away because I was on my own. And that was super fun. Like, ticking them off felt really good. I did so many awesome things, like go to harvest festivals, go to local farms, ate all kinds of pumpkin things. I had a autumn themed cocktail, did some stargazing. I watched the sunset. I went to the local diner to get a coffee like Lorelai Gilmore. I found loads of gazebos to hang out in, like in Stars Hollow in Gilmore Girls. Loads of pumpkin related things, harvest things, like tractor hayride, getting lost in a corn maze. It's all on the bingo card and I had the best time. And again, you can watch this by going and watching my feature-length Movimentary, which is a documentary with a twist, Movify Your Life, which is available on YouTube right now. Link in the show notes. So that's what I did for that trip. But if you want a simple framework to come up with your next trip, Movify style, here's what you can do. I also actually work you through the whole framework that I did as part of my Movimentary in my accompanying book, Movify Your Life. You can always also find the link to that in the show notes. So if you really want to go in depth with all this and do exactly what I did, that's where you'll find all the information. Okay, so first, let's just do the simple one now. So first, choose your feel-good genre. And feel good is the key here. Like, I love thrillers and mysteries and some horrors occasionally, but I don't want my life to feel like that. So pick the genre you actually want to live inside, or at least live inside for the length of a trip. And the next thing is to scout your location. So think of it like you're a director or an actual location scout. What place naturally fits that genre? What setting supports the story you want to live during that trip? And again, if you go back to episode 184, travel like you're in a movie, destinations that feel cinematic AF, this can help. Then set a quest. And the easiest way to do this is what I did with the bingo sheet. If you're not sure what to put on the sheet, you can ask friends for advice. You can watch your favorite show or film that you're basing it on and note down all the things they do, or like the tropes, the themes. Or you can ask good old Uncle ChatGPT, Chatty G, or other AI robot friend if you are having trouble coming up with things. So that's what I did. And yeah, having a challenge, having something to do, even if you're not filming it, to turn it into a mini movie like I did, can stop your trip just feeling like any other trip. It makes it feel special and movified. But like I say, you don't have to create it into a movie, but even if you just film like little snippets on your phone to turn into like a short reel afterwards that you can put on social media to get other people excited about the prospect of a movified trip in their near future, then that is awesome. Really cool. Okay, so that's just like a really basic framework to give you if you want to book a movified trip and feel like you're in a scene in a movie. And if you do this and you challenge yourself to do something, to go on a quest, then you are more likely to have naturally occurring, spontaneous, magical movie moments as well. So you might get one of those as a bonus, and you'll know when you get one of them because you'll feel like, wow, this is an awesome moment. So before we go, let me give you one tiny exercise you can do this week that will improve your future trips, get you excited about future travels, and just make things easier if and when you decide to go on a movified holiday. So it's really fun. It's even more fun if you use a bunch of coloured pens. I'm into my stationery, absolutely. And I want you to grab a piece of paper and write down your favourite memories. Now, when I did this in my Movimentary, I did any memories at all. But in the case of what we're talking about here, we can do travel memories. And like I say, travel doesn't mean flying to the other side of the world. It can just be a day trip you took one time, an hour from your house. Like, just as long as it's not in your house, let's say, we'll go with that. So write down all your favourite travel memories. So the favourite places you went to, the favourite things you did, favourite people you met, favourite food you had, activities you did, all that good stuff. And if you can, write down why they were favourite. Were they particularly memorable for some reason? Was it a new thing you'd never done before that you'd wanted to do for ages? Was it a bucket list trip to a destination you've been wanting to go to for years? Like, write down why it was special. And then just take a moment to look over that page and look for patterns. Like, do things pop up that connect to other things? Like, say, you really enjoyed lying on a beach in the sun. I do not, because I burn really easily, but that might be your favourite thing. Or maybe it was, it's a lot of food related stuff. I can relate with that. Maybe it was when, your favourite travel memories were when you were solo and you met new people and did new things. Maybe it was a specific country you keep going back to because you love it so much. Maybe you had a magical movie moment somewhere, even though you didn't realise at the time it was a magical movie moment, if you've only just heard that term. Just see what recurs again and again and write those down as well, or circle them or something. Maybe it's you love going to cozy cafes. Maybe you love beautiful scenery. Maybe you love hot tubs. I love hot tubs. So once you see those patterns, as I say, pull them out, make a list. And now you've basically created a blueprint for your favourite ever trips. So knowing this, even if you sort of knew it before, seeing it written down can really make a difference and get you thinking about it more. Then you can ask yourself, how can I build more of this, whatever it is that you've noticed, into my next trip? Like my next big holiday, or even just my next weekend. You could go away somewhere, or a day trip. I know what I like. I know what brings me joy. I know what makes a trip feel special. So how can I add more of that into my future trips? And then you can go through the basic framework and come up with your favourite feel-good TV show or genre, come up with a location that matches it, give yourself a challenge, use your movie star alter ego. If you've not got my guide, by the way, the Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, you can head to movifyyourlife.com/free. Again, this will be in the show notes, and you can grab that free guide. And it's what I used when I came up with my Veronica Gilmore alter ego for my mini movie, Veronica in Vermont, which in itself was in my moviementary. It's all very meta and confusing, I know. But if you watch my documentary with a twist, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, this is a really fun exercise because it will help you plan your future trips, but also it gets you reminiscing. And it's fun to reminisce about your favorite moments, your favorite trips, your favorite destinations, all your favorite things you've done. And even if you're not just thinking in terms of travel, it shows you what you want more out of life, just in general. So do the exercise, have fun. If you can gather some friends or your partner or whoever you've traveled with the most and get their help coming up with ideas and reminiscing about things and remembering certain things, that's even more fun. And then keep these patterns, these things you've noticed in mind as you plan your next trip. So that's it for this episode. I hope it helped you. I hope it gave you all kinds of travel related ideas. And again, you can apply this to your life as well and your next day off or your next weekend or whatever. And hopefully it will help you have epic experiences and magical movie moments you'll never ever forget. So I'm going to sign off now. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Please share if you have a travel loving friend who you think will love this. And I'll catch you next week for another Movify Monday. So until then, I'll see you on the red carpet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Movify Your Life show. Before you go, don't forget to sign up for the main character memo mailing list at movifyyourlife.com/list for exclusive tips, treats, and behind the scenes magic. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread that Movify message far and wide because everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. I'll see you next week for another Movify Monday. Until then, that's a wrap.